All right. Before I start the lesson today, let me go through the tutorial from last week. Um, I hope all of you have received this tutorial. This is basically to understand the requirement. Now, let me also give you a background about how these tutorials are designed. Now, this is a very hands-on practical module. Yeah. Mobile application development is a unit, and it's all about developing a mobile application. So in order to do that, we won't be coding it first. We start off by planning things, right? First of all, we are trying to understand what the user requirement is. What does the user need? And then we move on step by step. And then we do market research to understand what are the competitions. Then we start sketching out the basic UI screens. Then we plan the navigations. Where do you start? Which screen you go one after the other. And then we move on like that. Then we look at the architecture, right? And then we start coding. So we will not start coding from day one. We will not code. We will plan. And after that only we will start coding. The idea here is if you understand the requirement very well, right? If you spend a lot of time understanding the requirement, you need only a little bit of time to do the coding for programming, right? But if you start programming in the beginning and try to find out the requirement, that will take a long time, because as you move on with your code, it's very difficult to rework or to come back and change things. So we better plan it first and then do the coding next. So the app that we are trying to understand here is called the To-Do app. Okay. Can I know from the crowd here, how many of you have used a To-Do app? Can you raise your hand? How many of you have used a To-Do app? Let me also show you. I don't see anyone raising hands. Let me go to Google Play Store. Okay, there's one. So I'm going to the Google Play Store. Okay, I'm going to look for To-Do apps. Only Anjul has used, is it? Nobody else has used this. So I typed To-Do, and here's what I have. So one is Microsoft To-Do, Google Task is another one, Todoist is another one. There are so many: To-Do list, schedule planner, TikTok, To-Do list and calendar, task. All these tools are To-Do list. There is something called Memorigi, then Water-Do, To-Do list, all kinds of stuff, right? Now, each one is different to the other, and each one will have different aspect of doing things. I use this one because I have an Android phone, and this is also from Google. And this is a very basic, simple one. The reason why I am using this is it synchronizes with my laptop. So I run it on my phone, but I can see the to-do list on my computer. And since it is integrated with my Google account, I can pull things from my calendar, drop it to to-do. I can pull things from my email and drop that to to-do list. So I can also group things. So I have my personal to-dos, my office to-dos, and various other things, and they're color coded. So things like that. So To-Do application basically is like a planner, right? A task planner. So you will write down the task to do. For example, here, things to do, January 20th, right? Now, there may be other things you want to repeat, yeah? This is very similar to calendar, by the way. So calendar also, we have events. So same thing here. So I want to, all of you, I'm sure all of you have a mobile phone. install one of these applications, not this one only, right? So, and if you go down this path, you will also notice there are people giving comments, right? So there's one comment from October 17th, and then there's a September 23. Somebody absolute trash, right? I love this app for a while, but lately not reliable. There are good and bad comments. So you can go here and look at another one. Say, for example, Microsoft To Do. Now, if you are using, let's say, O365 for email and whatnot, this might be a good addition, just like Google To Do, right? So this also you can go down and have a look at what people are saying. Install it. By the way, they are all free. So you can see how it works, right? So use this. So the first objective is to understand what is a to-do app. So if you have not installed it, you have no idea what this is. So first thing is for you to install it. Okay, number one. Number two, let me get back to the document. Okay, so first you have to install, all right? In fact, before installing, you can do a market research, just like the way you do here. If you have an Apple, go to Apple Store, look for to-do apps. If you are on Android, go to Android store and look for to-do apps. And compare some of these things, okay? And look at who will need this. Students need this, mothers need it, fathers need it, professionals need this. Everyone has a need for to-do app because we tend to forget things. So a to-do app can give us a reminder. And if you notice, different applications have different features. So do a bit of a comparison as well, right? In a tabular form. And then when you do that, you can also take some screenshots, okay, to give your case. And then the last one is about what do you think as a good to-do app, right? Which app will satisfy your need? Because you notice there are different apps for different things. So think of yourself as a, let's say, a professional or a university student, maybe, whatever it may be, right? How can a to-do app help your life? Okay, so have a look at that. So start from there. So that's the first exercise. All right. And then you're supposed to put your full name, student index, and date of submission. Now, I gave 1 week to submit this. I don't know how many of you have submitted this. Check. Right. While I wait for the login screen, let's go through what we did last week. So we looked at the basics of our module. We looked at the aim. We looked at the prerequisites. So this requires basic programming principles and also object-oriented concepts plus data structures. And these are we looked at the assessments. These are the learning outcome. So at the end of the program, you should be able to design an app that works on your mobile phone. So we also looked at the definition of mobile application development. So this is not about just coding, isn't it? This is about designing and then delivering a successful mobile applications. So the role of the mobile app developer is to understand customer need, developing the supportive areas like the functionality, the APIs and UI, UX engineering, all that, and then start developing the application. Okay, so this is also something that we talked about, ecosystem of mobile applications. An ecosystem is something that has not just a programming language, but so many different things connected to that. Yeah, so there are app planning, then there is app delivery, then there are third-party solution providers, and things like that. So it's not just one person building an app. So we notice there are so many people, so many companies involved in this operation. So starting from the mobile phone manufacturers to operating system suppliers to even internet service providers, everything, right? Everybody is involved in this mobile ecosystem. Here's another way to look at it. These are all, by the way, from last week. We also realize right now, as of now, we have only two famous mobile platforms, Apple and Android. And we also talked about why mobile application is important in the digital age. So the fact that mobile is everywhere, everyone is using it. In fact, mobile phone has become the first device for anyone to visit the internet, not the laptop, not the desktop. Yeah. So many people are using their mobile phone as their first device to go online. So there's a huge market for people who can build fantastic, smooth mobile applications. So it's a huge market. So these are some of the other benefits. Monetization, meaning you can make money out of this. Personalization, offline data storage, security, brand presence. So all these are advantages for companies, right? So companies also want to make very good, smooth mobile applications. Right. We also looked at the pervasiveness of mobile devices, meaning it's everywhere, right? It's everywhere. And these are some of the areas, the bullet points on the right-hand side shows where there are opportunities to build mobile applications. So starting from communication apps, internet access, work and productivity, entertainment, navigation. These are all opportunities we have for us to build mobile applications. But having said that, we also realize there are some limitations when it comes to mobile platform. Limited resources, great user experience is expected by the users, and also the app interface is mostly on touch base. So we need to make sure it is compatible with touch screens, right? Meaning you can't have tiny spots for touching. You need to have larger spots, and you need to have space between objects and things like that. And what does the user want? The user want to accomplish something simply and fast. Just few taps, they want to get it done. Right. We also looked at types of mobile applications, right? So the first being native apps, apps that are native to the platform. So since we have two platforms, it's either iOS or Android. And for iOS, we are using Swift programming language, more like a C++. And for Android, we have few choices. We have Java and Kotlin. Both are from Google, by the way. We also notice the advantages of native apps. They're very fast and have access to the peripherals, but not easy. You need to study the entire system in order to get something done. And then there's another flavor called the web applications, where you basically have a website and people use the browser on their mobile phone to access the application. And then comes the hybrid mobile app developments, where our subject comes into play because we are using Flutter. This one basically is giving us the opportunity to do code reusability, meaning you write once and you can use the same code based on both platforms. Okay. I think this is where we stopped last week. So as you notice here, on the native side, we have code where you write once and it runs on both platforms. So one code base running on both platforms. Whereas on the native side, we have to write two code bases, one code base for Android, another code base for Apple. So we looked at the advantages of cross-platform development. All right, so let's look at some of the future trends in mobile app developments. What will happen in next year, maybe next 5 years, right? So one thing we can see happening now is augmented reality becoming easy to develop and also readily available on our mobile platforms. The other thing is Internet of Things, so IoT integration. IoT is about connecting everything inside our room maybe or our house maybe to the internet so that we can manage things and find out what is going on. Basically reduce energy usage and things like that. And AI is also playing a big role in both desktop and also mobile apps. Like say, for example, when you speak to the phone in the, let's say on the first day of the purchasing, the phone might not be able to understand what you're saying, right? If you want to dictate. But after a while, it will understand what you're trying to say. Okay, to end it, here's a beautiful quote. In this industry, creativity is prized above all else, and the art of the craft must be honored. What does it mean? It applies to anything: software, carpentry, Flutter programming, whatever. So, whatever you are doing, do it very, very well. So, when you do it with art, right, it's a very honorary job. Yeah. So we need to put up a lot of energy. That's why I said we will not going to sit down and code from the day one, day two. We will sit down and plan. We will sit down and study what others have done. Okay, I guess that's it. Any questions? I'm still trying to see how many people have uploaded to Moodle. I'm not getting any complaint from anybody also. Okay, here comes tutorial 2. In this tutorial, we are looking at conceptualizing a mobile phone. So what is conceptualizing? Basically planning. Okay. So this is a continuation of your tutorial 1. So you need to do tutorial 1 in order to do tutorial 2. So first is to define your application. What does it do? Why would anyone use this tool? Right? So define the app idea. Then set clear goals and objectives. What are we going to gain out of this, and what are the objectives, and what are the goals, and things like that. And then last one is answer the following question. Who is your target audience? What are the KPIs? Write a list of features, identify the scope. So it might be a modular thing or a monolithic thing. Either way, you need to find out, okay, how am I going to do this? How am I going to develop this? And make sure to fill this box when you're uploading it. And from here onward, you can start pasting your content. Any questions? Okay, Dion has a good question. How to prove whether you have completed the EDX or edX course? Yeah, there are two versions actually. One is where you do it completely free, uh, which doesn't allow you to do any exams or certificates. So it's free. Second is where you pay and they'll give you a progress report. And at the end of the program, they'll also give you a certificate. So in our case, I didn't want you to pay and buy that. If you can, that's very good. But if you can't pay and buy that, at least learn how to use that. Okay. Learn how to use that. Now, to prove the fact that you have gone through the whole thing, you can go to the last page. You see a progress bar, right? Now, make sure the progress bar is at the end, or at least towards the end. There you take a screenshot of including your document. Now, each document each week has some questions, right? You need to answer each question. Who is your target audience or app? You need to type the reply here. Same for others. Any other questions? No? Right. So, well, I'm still trying to see how many I have uploaded.